special broadcast, and today I will be talking about the main astrology of 2018, right? So I have my laptop here. I'm going to read to you bits of my article. So read about although that happened in 2017, Saturn moved into Capricorn, which is monumental to say the least, because Saturn is a very slow moving planet, and the last time Saturn was in Capricorn was 1988. Okay, so a long time has passed by that Saturn is back home in his rulership. Now, what does it mean by rulership? It means that when a planet traverses different signs and finally comes back to the sign it rules. Saturn rules Capricorn. And interestingly, Saturn is not only the exoteric ruler of Capricorn, Saturn is also the sole ruler or the esoteric ruler of Capricorn. So another interesting thing to note here is that Saturn is the only planet that stays in his rulership for the longest in the zodiac, because every other planet, and Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. It was a traditional ruler of Aquarius. So Saturn here functions as the global energy leader when he moves into his own sign, his own rulership, that is Capricorn, and he stays there for 2.5 years, and then he moves into Aquarius, which is again his very own sign. Okay, so this gives the world a very Saturnian vibe, a vibe where we all become serious, a vibe where we become productive, and we become like the proverbial ants. If we don't, we have other karmic implications we must face, but generally if you have a Saturn that is in its rulership and triggering the world energies like this, especially with the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto and Mars and all these heavyweights in 2020 that we are leading up to, it's going to be epic, it's monumental. Okay, so Saturn will now be in his rulership. He entered in December 2017, and he will now be in his rulership for the next 5 years, which is quite interesting because Saturn is the archetype of constriction, of restriction, of boundaries. Okay, very interestingly, Jupiter, the glyph of Jupiter goes like okay, one second. Glyph of Jupiter is like that. Okay, that's Jupiter, and that is Saturn. So that is the glyph of Saturn. Okay, sorry for scribbling on that. I wasn't prepared to sketch out, but I decided to show you that because here with Jupiter, this is emblematic of spirit and matter. Okay, so spirit always comes before matter in Jupiter, and with Saturn is the opposite. It's matter and then spirit. Okay, so there is a huge emphasis on the 3D world, on boundaries, on structures, on institutions, because Saturn rules all of that. Okay, and now with Saturn moving into Capricorn in his own rulership, he's definitely going to change the structures as we know it. And why so? Because from 2008 Pluto has been sitting in Capricorn waiting for Saturn to come in and join on 2020. Okay, so this is a big meeting. Okay, this is a big conversation that's happening between these two heavyweights. And if Pluto is in Capricorn, it is there to transform economy, the judiciary, the legal system, and all the structures, hospitals, and everything that we understand that is Saturnian. Okay, everything is going to change because Pluto is the archetype of death and rebirth. you know. So the energies are very volatile, they're very interestingly aligned. In 2018 I just got into Saturn in Cap, which is very interesting. Now, what is Capricorn about? Capricorn is an earth sign. Capricorn likes boundaries. Capricorn likes success. Is archetype of the mountain goat, which means that Capricorn can climb up to the mountain and put in the daily work that is required. Capricorn is grounded. Material manifestation is important to the Capricorn. Okay, so these are a few facets of Capricorn. Okay, now Saturn was in Sagittarius, okay, and Sagittarius is the sign that deals with foreigners, and we've seen with Brexit, and we've seen with the rise of nationalist movements, even in India with the rise of the BJP, we've seen that foreigners and boundaries, we understand that us and them, we are creating a segregation. We did that with Saturn in Sag, we also understood, we also had to face demonetization in India, which has never been done before. Pluto in Capricorn is definitely responsible, and Saturn is also very, very responsible for this whole enactment that's going on. Okay, now we have to understand one thing with Saturn is all about karma. So we have to understand the implications of karma if you're going to work with the Saturnian energy. Okay, so this is about us understanding the words that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. What does that mean, and this is something that Saturn wants us to understand. This is something that is an important part of Saturn's lesson that is meted out to us. Okay, so this is important for us now. Okay, this is important because government is going to be recreated, jobs are going to be recreated, job skills are going to be recreated, with the world going through such a shift. After 2020, I think we come into a new era. There is the dawn of a new era, and people like us, empaths, psychics, sensitives, we've been feeling this dawn waiting to proclaim herself, and we've been waiting and waiting, but it is there. Okay, it's there for those of us that feel it, it's there for those of us that don't feel it. It's an inevitability. Okay, with all these heavyweights, with all this emphasis on Capricorn, things have to change. The way of the old, the exploitative way of patriarchy has to give way. Don't forget, Lilith is also in Capricorn, and there was a huge stellium of 6 planets in Capricorn, changing life and changing energies as we know it forever. Okay, so this is important, very, very important. The emphasis comes on old people, people with wisdom, people with who can impart wisdom. You've heard of Sari Sati, which is a concept of Saturn returns of 7.5 years in someone's life, which is a period of maturity. And then on the 30th, 29th year, Saturn returns to his natal position, which is your first sign of maturity. That's when you take stock of your life and understand what do you have sown, what you have done with your time. Saturn also rules time, by the way. So what you've done with time, how you have explored time, how you have put it to use, how you've helped people, all of this is going to come into question. Okay, and the possibilities are huge for a new world to be created with all these energies. They are, and Lilith is definitely the women standing up with the Me Too movement, with women speaking out about abuse, with women speaking out about every single thing you can imagine. Women just speaking out against patriarchy, because this is a system that is serving no one, believe me, serving men the least, actually, because men are just caught in this vicious cycle of competitive brutality, And where is it all heading? Towards destruction, towards catastrophes, towards wars. You know, what are we doing? You know, we have a person in power in the seat of world government in Washington who says that he wants to grab women by their pussies. All well and fine, but this is not something women want to hear. Honestly, men, if this is how you think you will get the attention of a woman, this is wrong. You will not get it. This is unacceptable, and these ways will have to change. Okay, a new world has to dawn where women can feel as safe as men, right? All right, that was a bit on Saturn. Now let's move on to Uranus in Taurus, which is the next huge shift that's happening. Okay, and let's explore a bit about Uranus has been in Aries, by the way, and Uranus in Aries cycle started off with in 2011. Okay, and Uranus was in Pisces before that in 2003, and my life, my foundation of everything that happened to me was 2003, you know, and it was Uranus on my moon, the conjunction of Uranus, the conversation that happened between Uranus and my moon that really started my whole interest in the occult and the esoteric. And so for me, the cycles of Uranus are soul cycles, you know. And so for me, 2003, then 2011 was probably one of the most devastating years of my life as Uranus went into Aries. I lost my cat, and he was my first cat, and he was the most important thing in the whole wide world to me. You know, he was my baby, and I lost him in a very devastating accident with Uranus, and Uranus had just gone into Aries at that point. So it became really difficult for me to handle, and I had to work through the energies, and that was another spiritual awakening, I can tell you that. And that was very upsetting spiritual awakening, and I really hope nothing so upsetting happens again. Saturn's in my 6th house from my ascendant, so, and I look after many animals, so you know, I always have that radar on, but you get the gist of it basically. So Uranus is a very soul journey, and Uranus is now ready to move into the sign of Taurus, which is the 2nd sign in the zodiac wheel, feminine, earth sign, fixed sign, the sign of the bull. Okay, and so Uranus, now Uranus was pretty recently discovered, and Uranus has an eccentric orbit. Okay, and Uranus goes retrograde, and Uranus has like some really crazy attributes that no one does. So the archetype of Uranus is the revolutionary, the rebel, the upstart, the outsider. Okay, the innovator, the eccentric genius. If you speak of Aquarius, Jim Jarmusch comes to mind if you know cinema and watch a film called Coffee and Cigarettes to understand the quintessential Jarmusch and what he did with narrative. That's Aquarian, okay? So that's a hardcore Aquarian for you. They innovate at every step in life. Everything for them has to be different. If there's a man who's got his Venus in Aquarius, he is going to like the most different woman out there in the mix, you know. If there are women with long hair, he's going to like the one with the short hair. It doesn't mean that he likes short hair, he just likes different things. That's his Venus, you know. Moon in Aquarius will never want a stable, boring, dull 9 to 5 and back home and, you know, microwave dinner and a missionary and get to bed. No, he's not going to fall for that. It's Aquarius moon people want, you know, want more openness, want more broad-mindedness, want more exploration, want more sex toys, you know. So that's Aquarius energy out there. So Uranus rules Aquarius. It's again innovative, quirky. You can understand from what I said. Uranus is air energy, fast, lightning bolt, abrupt changes, sudden changes, things just happen out of the blue with Uranus aspects, okay? If Uranus features prominent in your chart, then you are always having to deal with absurd, unrealistic, just out of the blue, abrupt shit, okay? It just happens like that. So Uranus does not like to be in Taurus because Taurus is fixed. Taurus is staunch. Taurus is ruled by Venus, so Taurus likes everything sensual, everything artistic, everything. Taurus is very much to do with the physical body. So Taurus is very into the physical body. They like touching, deep kissing, and stuff like that. Missionary works with them. They want long kisses, and they're that kind. So Uranus is not comfortable in Taurus. Okay? Uranus doesn't understand the fixed energy of Taurus. So Uranus feels out of place in Taurus. And Taurus doesn't like Uranus in there. Like, what is this really absurd situation that's happening? This dispeller that's come into my vicinity, in my sign, and I have to invite him and I have to keep him. This is what Taurus is thinking. So what happens when these two disparate energies come together? Okay, now since Taurus has to do with the earth, with Gaia, with the physical body, and Uranus has to do with innovation. So I see a lot of innovation in terms of technology that is used to work in harmony with the earth and with the physical body. So now in the medical world, there will be like probably robots doing surgeries, much more of that. Probably seeds will be fertilized in new different ways, probably AI taking over and upstarting jobs as we know it. So a lot of this kind of fluctuation is going to happen. We can see auras, we can read auras, we can actually, with technology, we can put this technology to use and really come up with healing modalities. In really understanding how the brain works and how the human body works, how the human mind works. So there's a lot that can be done in that aspect with Uranus innovating eccentric, quirky stuff for the physical body, for earth. Food is going to be important, and how we grow food, how we store food, how we transport food, all this is going to come into question heavily, okay? So this is something that Uranus is definitely going to emphasize. Innovation, Uranus in Taurus is definitely going to emphasize, the whole aspect of bringing cutting edge technology to the earth and to the physical body. This is definitely something. We will see technology that looks after our health. We will be given food that really works for us. The whole organic GMO thing, I think, is going to be heavily debated. Veganism, new diets, okay, understanding what is sustainable for the earth. People are going to become vegan. I mean, there's a 500 or 700% jump in veganism in the UK. So kids are waking up. Kids are not as selfish as us. They understand that the earth and Gaia has to be cared for. I remember the Native American proverb when I speak about the earth and what the heritage of the earth is. This is very important, this proverb. And it says that we don't inherit we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. I mean, it changed the way I look at life. And I did not have a child then, but I do now. And I understand the depth of these words, the profound effect it had on me, that no, this is not the world I want to leave behind for my child and her children, something must give, we must change, we must work with the world, because it's not ours to destroy. It's our time here, we come, we exist, and Earth as we know it will change. Also, since Taurus has to do with currencies and the banking systems and this and that, okay, and money, finances, Taurus has to do with money, and Uranus coming into Taurus is definitely going to change the face of money. And Uranus being the ruler of the internet, of course we will see cryptocurrencies and the rise of cryptocurrencies. So as Uranus makes his way into Taurus, there could be disruptions, there could be problems, there could be ups and downs in the whole cryptocurrency system. But once Uranus has stabilized his energies, that is the new world, you know, Bitcoin, BitChain, blockchain, those technologies, that's what we will live with, that's what we will learn. 10 years, you know, by the time Uranus is ready to leave this earth sign Taurus and move into Gemini, which is air, and Saturn again moves into air, which is Aquarius. We are going to see technology that we don't even know. We won't even be able to relate this world to that world back out then, you know, in the future we won't be able to link these worlds together. So that is the profound effect it is going to have. So gold and silver will come into focus, and how we hold them as collaterals, how we value metals, precious metals like gold, platinum and stuff like that. So that's again gonna come in stuff, okay. Digital transactions are going to be big, and by digital transactions I mean most shopping online. We will have smart contracts where you sign the contract, and after your work is done you are paid by the computer. You don't have to wait like people like us in the media. We have to wait to be paid by the media houses, by who we write for, by who we shoot for. So you know, that system of oppression where we sign contracts and then we have to infinitely wait for the money to come, that system will be abolished with smart contracts. That's definitely the future. That's definitely something I am looking forward to, that Uranus in Taurus will bring about, if you ask me, okay. Digital transactions and these smart contracts, the way we look at contracts, the way we interact through contacts is gonna change, thank God. The traveling, the idea of how we travel from A point to B point is going to change forever. You know what, Elon Musk trying to use the technology to go to space, to send people from one point in the Netherlands to another point in Europe. He's trying that, you know. I think it's the Netherlands or somewhere in the US. I think the Netherlands. So Elon Musk is trying to bring space technology and have us travel the world in less than 1 day or something like crazy like that. Understand? I mean, here we are really gonna travel and not waste much time traveling. The bane of existence, like travel, and you waste so much time. So that is something that we all can really be happy about. Now, on the slightly problematic side of this vibration could be a lot of seismic changes, okay, a lot of earthquakes and forest fires, things like this, the disruptive weather patterns. Watch out for that, okay. That could be an issue. Now, we already know about Jupiter in Scorpio. It's not a 2018 alignment, let me tell you, because Jupiter in November in 2018 moves into his own rulership of Sagittarius, and Mars is in Sag today as I make this video, so it's special. But for right now, Jupiter from October 2017 has moved into Scorpio and has begun the exposition of all things scorpionic: sex, secrets, exploitation, resources, debts, other people's money, the way we understand sexuality, what's right, what's not, the rights of the transsexual people, the rights of lesbians and homosexuals, the right to exist with our sexuality and be comfortable with it, to to actually understand the demons in there, and to not suppress them, because if we don't acknowledge and address the shadow side, we will not evolve. That's a huge part of our evolution, of our soul evolution, is to face the shadow, you know. There's no way of avoiding that, sadly. So and Jupiter in Scorpio could be heavy, but everything to do with Scorpio is heavy. It's a very intense vibration, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion, so this intensity is going to be expanded, sexuality and all of that, but if you work through Jupiter in Scorpio, then Jupiter being the archetype of the Guru or Brihaspati in Vedic astrology, then you can get Jupiter's boons to understand the framework of the 8th house or Scorpio, to understand human sexuality, to understand the power of human sexuality, you know. So that is very important. And once Jupiter is in Sagittarius, wow, baba boom, everything's gonna expand, things are gonna, you know, be very, very interesting and dramatic. So Neptune, the dude stays in Pisces for a very long time. Neptune is a slow moving planet, and Neptune is in his rulership in Pisces. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus and is in his rulership in Pisces, and loves doing what he is doing in Pisces, bringing healing, bringing illusion, yes, but what is not an illusion? Everything's an illusion. This reality is an illusion if you really look at it. So Neptune and Pisces can be very, very healing if we allow it to happen. And with Chiron being in the mix, Chiron the archetype of the wounded healer, you know, and with Chiron being in Pisces, Chiron will also move out of Pisces and move into Aries 2019 sometime. I forget right now, but it's happening. Chiron is moving into Aries, and fiery Aries. And but with this Chiron Neptune conversations that have taken place, it has been intensely healing for the collective. So I hope you got a piece of that energy. Okay, now Mars goes retrograde in Aquarius, June 26th to August 27th. Now Mars going retrograde in Aquarius can amplify feelings of frustration with regards to the 11th house community. We may have our plans foiled. We may have karmic people come into our life, though. And of course Venus is also going retrograde, don't forget, in Scorpio, and to Libra, okay, and on October 15th to November 17th. So this is going to bring themes of money, love, other people's money. So there's a point, I think, in this whole year when Mars goes retrograde and then Venus goes retrograde. So the male and female polarities are going to internalize their energies. So that's going to be important with Venus and Mars. Actually, if you ask me, karmic people come back into your life. With Mars, it's more action-oriented, maybe work, maybe friends. But with Venus, I have seen the propensity of ex-lovers to pop right out of the framework when you don't expect it. I have had my ex-boyfriend, my first ex-boyfriend, contacted me during this 2017 Venus retrograde, and I was really stunned. And then, you know, I really didn't want to keep on speaking with him, so that ended there and I blocked him. But then he got talking with my partner again, you know, and added him on Facebook and all that while Venus was retrograde, and then he was silent and Venus went direct, and now, you know, he's gone out of my head. But I just remembered that one anecdote from my personal experience with this alignment with Venus going retrograde. My God, it's exes can pop out of anywhere, right? So be mindful of that energy. And that was a brief overview of the astrology of 2018 in a more general sense, but you get the gist. If you want to book a reading with me, please email me, tina@tinaheals.com. Check out my work and see you very shortly. I'll be making loads of astrological videos and putting out a lot of astro, tarot, esoteric material, tantra, yoga, symbols, crystals and stuff like that. So join me again, and do remember to subscribe, like and share, and leave your comments below. It means so much to me. Thank you. Bye bye.